Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. And boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Listen, it's over for Conor Benn. Conor Benn, he gave up Peds. And as a result of giving up the Peds, he's become Devin Haney. A pretty skillful, clever boxer, high punch output, that can't, crack an egg. And Conor Benn should be able to crack an egg because he knows about eggs. Now, Conor Benn, he still hasn't come from underneath that dark cloud to prove his innocence when it comes to his positive tests, A and B samples, right, for this clomiphene. Now, clomiphene is a banned, drug, substance that a lot of fighters take, from Brock Lesnar to, I think Anderson Silva got tested for it, but there's a lot of fighters and athletes who have taken this drug or substance, right? Now, clomiphene is proven to increase the testosterone in men by like 10 times, right? It's also something to help with women who are dealing with infertility and stuff like that. Now, the way the story goes, and I've done videos on this, it's Conor Benn, right? Supposedly, clomiphene was being given to these hens, right? And it was being given to the hens to increase the egg production rate. As a result, right, these hens who were taking this clomiphene to increase the egg production rate, right, those eggs in particular that those hens laid were supposedly contaminated with clomiphene. And those eggs in particular, a batch of those eggs, somehow Conor Benn got his hands on them, where he bought them from the store or whatever, went to a farm, and somehow he ended up getting a hold of them, made himself an omelet, a boiled egg, or whatever the hell he did, and that's how the clomiphene got in the system as a result of eating eggs that were laid by hens who were being administered clomiphene to increase the egg production rate. Now, to that I say, in the most respectful way, to hold your effing horses. Matter of fact, hold your effing chickens. And let's not take it to the stupid. Because there were some people who believed that Conor Benn, I've done videos, I could call him Conor Hen, right? That Conor Hen was innocent. I didn't believe he was innocent. But nonetheless, they believed he was innocent. Because I remember Conor Benn, before he went on that little knockout streak, looking like an aggressive, hungry fighter, but getting hurt early in the first round in one fight. He got hurt early and was looking pretty ordinary. And then all of a sudden, he starts tranquilizing people. I mean, tranquilizing opponents. So I was like, man, what the hell is going on with this guy, right? But nonetheless, since his return to boxing, his name still hasn't been cleared. That's why he's not fighting in the UK. Since his return, he looks sharp. He looks fast. He looks explosive. But he looks, as far as punching power, he looks like Devin Haney. I mean, he can hit you. He can buzz you. He can make you respect him. But he doesn't have the one-punch KO power. He's not knocking people across the ring like he did Chris Algieri. So to me, it's nothing for me to think about. No, Conor Benn was out there, man, fiddling with the devil's lettuce. He was out there messing with the Peds, man. And whether it was clomiphene or whatever the hell else may have been in the system, I don't buy this shit about eggs. He knew what he was doing. And it's showing. the type of shots, right? Conor Benn just fought this guy Dobson tonight, but his opponent before Dobson, the type of punches that Conor Benn was hitting, his Dobson tonight and his previous opponent, if Conor Benn was truly a one-punch KO artist, which is what he had, proven to, at least convinced us that he was in his fights, prior to these last two, right? Before the investigation. If he was truly a one-punch KO artist, look, he would have knocked out his last fighter was a Mexican fighter, and tonight Dobson, he would have knocked Dobson out. He was hitting Dobson with all kind of shit. And Dobson was just there. Dobson looked like a goddamn big-ass chinchilla or some kind of little small furry critter, didn't he? Like a big kind of fat face, ears looked like cinnamon rolls on the side of his head, just there, and just in the pocket, set the fire, and just getting hit. And Benn hit him with some hard shots. And Dobson he didn't even move. He was an immovable object. And I said, this is crazy. So I'm telling you right now, when it comes to Conor Benn, let me tell y'all something. With Conor Benn's name, that brings a lot of money. But Conor Benn's called out Jerron Boots Ennis. To that I say, let's not take it to the stupid Conor Benn. Conor Benn's called out Gervonta Davis. To that I say, let's not take it to the stupid Conor Benn. Conor Benn's called out Devin Haney. To that I say, let's not take it to the stupid Conor Benn. Matter of fact, Devin Haney's dad, Bill Haney, was at the post-fight press conference. And, of course, he was invited to come and watch the fight. The Haneys have a relationship with Matchroom. But I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if Devin Haney goes after Conor Benn. Now, Conor Benn is not Regis Prograis. Conor Benn, to me, looks sharper, looks faster, looks more explosive. Sorry, my eyes itching, right? But I just think Devin Haney and his dad, they already took a look at Conor Benn, height, reach, looking how he's performing in the ring, looking how he gets a little off balance, gets sloppy, keeps that left hand down. He's open for the right hand. Matter of fact, Dobson was super slow. I'm talking about Dobson must pack gallons and gallons of molasses up his ass because that's how slow he was. You know what I'm saying? And if Dobson was getting there with his right hand, Devin Haney's going to sit there and Floyd Mayweather lead straight right hand all night and then roll out. But I am sure that Devin Haney's pops, they already took a look and said, this is an easy fight. And you know what? Is it a cherry pick? If Devin Haney was a fight, Conor Benn, I don't know. But what I will say is, Devin Haney's not fighting Teofimo. Devin Haney doesn't seem to be fighting Ryan now. Devin Haney ain't fighting Tank. Tank and Ryan fought each other. Say what you want. If we're going to say this is a four horseman era down from 135 to 140, well, two of the four horsemen already scrapped. The other guys ain't trying to mix it up with no one. Okay? So, for me, Devin Haney, they're being very smart and how they approach his career. But I just, Devin Haney is going the Canelo route where, they're moving up in weight, they're getting titles, but they're being very smart about, who they're going at. Now Canelo's done a lot of great things. This video is not about Canelo. But I just feel for Devin Haney, I don't know how far he can go with trying to become undisputed at 147. Canelo has, some of those fights Canelo's won. Canelo had a machine behind him. Canelo was a lot of money. I don't think Devin Haney can do what Canelo did, because Devin Haney is not. He's not the money guy in boxing or even in any of these divisions. I just heard Devin Haney got offered $10 million guarantee for Ryan Garcia and turned it down. Said he wanted a $20 million guarantee. That's complete madness to me. But nonetheless, Conor Benn wants to fight Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney beat him. Conor Benn's talked about Jerome Sinners. Conor Benn's talked about Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford. Let's not take it to the stupid. He's not beating those guys. Now, one thing I'll say to Conor Benn's credit, right? I think it's foul that he was taking that clomiphene and cheating because his power, he probably go crack one of them eggs and find his power in there. That's where his power is. I call them power-ups. It's like Mario Brothers. Remember you playing Mario Brothers, man? And Mario hit a power-up and shit or get the star or whatever and eat the mushroom and he get big or get firepower or run across the stage and, you know, is invincible and runs through all the opponents. That's how Conor Benn was. He was getting them goddamn Mario stars, them power-ups, and running through everybody, right? That's not happening for Conor Benn anymore. But at the end of the day, I got to give him some credit because I truly believe Conor Benn is probably a 140-pounder. And he just wants big challenges. But I think Conor Benn may really be a 140-pounder. And it sounds like he can get down to 140. Now, if Conor Benn dropped down to 140, well, here you go. Things get interesting real quick. Conor Benn at 140, if he can make that weight. But at 147, Conor Benn rehydrated to 170 pounds. So Conor Benn rehydrated heavier than what Devin Haney rehydrates to. And that's interesting. But nonetheless, the way Ben came tonight and came away with, I would say, a runaway victory over Dobson, you know, I'm just not so sure that he's going to be able to do that against a guy like Devin Haney. Because even though I would say Conor Benn won every round, maybe one. Dobson had a round where he was okay. But for the most part, the rounds after like the fourth round, the rounds they weren't super competitive, but there was some times we could see like it was competitive, just in spurts, right? But if Conor Benn was to fight Devin Haney, I'm not so sure how competitive that fight would be, especially if Devin Haney gets behind that jab, and on occasion, you know, rolls out and throws that right hand and catches Conor Benn with the lead hook. The one thing I'll see Devin Haney needs to watch out for is Conor Benn threw a lot of rabbit punches. He throws a lot of rabbit punches. He will headbutt. Conor Benn, he's looking for the mash-up, crash-up. And if he can get away with being a dirty fighter, he will. But you know what's so eye-opening about that? Is Conor Benn wasn't really a dirty fighter before. He wasn't really trying to headbutt people before. He's always been explosive, always been ferocious. But before he tested positive for that clomiphene and disappeared from the sport of boxing, he wasn't a guy you see that really throwing headbutts and all that craziness, you know, and trying to twist arms and shit in the ring. He wasn't that guy. He was in there trying to let that leather fly. And when he touched an opponent, you know, the way they reacted was crazy. Like they really didn't like getting hit by Conor Benn. And it was showing the way their body would respond. But now, with Conor Benn, I mean, look, he had two opponents in front of him that were standing there. He was landing cleanly and couldn't do any damage. But one thing I'll say, with or without Peds, Conor Benn's conditioning seems to be the same. He's in great shape. Great shape. For that man to fight the first second of the first round, right? The whole round, he don't take any time off. And then to go and fight all the way to the last second of the 12th round. That tells me that Conor Benn is in great, great shape. But I'm going to go ahead and say this. Let me point something out to you. And I'm just going to be as honest as I possibly can because although I think Conor Benn, I don't trust his story, I think, you know, he deserves, for me at least, to try to be as fair as possible. Now, I'm going to point something out to you. All right, Conor Benn said he can fight up to 160. He still wants to fight Eubank Jr. I think Eubank Jr. would tranquilize him, right? But that's my opinion. He may or may not agree. But Conor Benn going up to 160, I think he gets destroyed. So at 160, right? This is the problem. Right here. Let me do something for you real quick. Could you imagine Conor Benn fighting Alan Canuli, Adamus, Lara, Derevinchenko, Eubank Jr., Nursultanov, or any of these other guys at 160, right? Let's just be real with ourselves. You try to imagine Conor Benn, right, who can't, at least now, crack an egg. Again, he was in an opponent who was super slow, gallons of molasses in his ass, still catching Conor with the right hand. You trying to tell me Conor Benn against these guys, they're going to hit him, and Conor Benn cannot hurt them, that Conor Benn stands a chance? Okay? Now, that's 160. Now, Conor Benn talking about he can fight at 154, he can fight at 147, maybe 140. You trying to tell me that Jermell Charlo, Conor Benn beats him, or Conor Benn beats Zhu, Mendoza, Fundora, Lubin, Ramos, Madrimov, Harrison, Soro, Conwell, Bahachuk? Would you guys really try to convince yourselves that Conor Benn can beat these guys? And when you come down 154-pound division and you just start looking at some of these names, matter of fact, Virgil Ortiz. You telling me that Conor Benn will beat Virgil Ortiz? And Virgil Ortiz is a tenth of what he was before the rhabdomyolysis, right? Or even Xander Zayas. Conor Benn's not beating these guys. Erickson Lubin, he's not beating these guys. Then you come down and you take a look at 147, right? Because this is where he seems to want to float around. You got Terrence Crawford. Could you imagine Terrence Crawford? Earl Spence, I don't know what's going on with Earl Spence, but Crawford and Spence are going to 154. It's my understanding, but even Spence, Ennis, Stanley Eunice, Santian, Jesus Christ, Santian, I don't know what, yeah, they need to check Santian for the cocktail, because Santian is a beast. I don't know what the hell Crowley's doing, but just any of these guys at 147. Could you imagine Conor Benn in there trying to mix it up with them? Conor Benn would get destroyed because he looked to get buzzed tonight by Dobson. And then we just bubble on down here to 140. Come on now. You got Teofimo Lopez. Then you got these guys right here. All right? You guys really believe that Conor Benn could do anything with these guys right here? He is not messing with Haney. Probably be an interesting fight. I don't think he can touch Taylor, who's at 147 now. Then you got Matias, Ramirez, Prograis, Hitchens, Catterall. You know, I just don't think Conor Benn can mess with any of these guys at 140. And as far as calling out, you know, Gervonta Davis, you know, down at 135, you know, I just think that's a suicide mission. He should leave Gervonta Davis alone, because Gervonta Davis, I think, would destroy Conor Benn at 140 or 147. But that being said, Conor Benn, what does his future hold? I don't know. But in his last two fights, since he's been forced to become clean, Conor Benn hasn't got the result that he wanted. And that's his fault. And I'm going to be honest with you. In his third fight, his fourth fight, because he's at two now, third, fourth, fifth, all the way up to the 10th fight, Conor Benn's never going to get the outcome that he's looking for. Because Conor Benn, right, on his best day, is a B-level fighter. Maybe C+. Okay? And for those of you saying, well, what measuring stick are you using? I would say, okay, at 147, right? Let's just talk about 147. If I'm calling Conor Benn a B-level fighter, maybe C+, right? And you say, well, you know, how are you, what criteria are you using for you to sit here and comfortably say he's a C+ level fighter? Okay, let's just look at, we know Crawford and Spencer move up, but they're in the division for now, so Crawford is A+. Spence is maybe an A, B+ fighter, right? A rated fighter. So Crawford's A+, Spence is an A. Boots Ennis is like a B+ fighter. Stanley Eunice is like a B+ fighter. Santillan's like a B+ fighter. Crowley's like a C+ B level fighter. And Vanessian's like a C+ B level fighter. Yes, Barrios is probably more like a B. Rocha is more like a B. Cavaliasius, I think, could be an A level, but he's more like a B. So now we're looking at all these guys who I'm calling, for the most part, you got 2 A-level fighters, Spence and Crawford. And Jerron Ennis, he's still not proven yet, but he passes the eye test. And everyone else on here are B-level fighters. How the hell, right, when you're talking about Barrios, Rocha, Cavaliasius, Crowley, Santillan, Stanley Eunice, right, Ennis, Giasov, Vanessian. If I'm going to call them B-level fighters, how the hell am I going to put Conor Benn alongside those guys? No, he's a C level fighter, man. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. He's a C level fighter. He can't crack your goddamn egg. If Ennis touches you, and I'm saying Ennis is I think Ennis is an A level fighter, but he got to get some big wins before I stamp him with that. But he's passes the eye test, right? But Ennis will knock you out. Stanley Eunice will knock you out. Santillan will knock you out. Crowley, I ain't so sure what Crowley can and can't do anymore, but he'll overwork you and overwhelm you. Vanessian got the power to get you out of there. Barrios can get you out of there. Rocha can get you out of there. Cavaliaskis, but these guys have been proving it over and over and over, and without testing positive for any Ped tests. And now you come and talk about Conor Benn. You can't put him in the same category with those guys. Conor Benn is definitely, man, a level beneath them. He has some skill. He's explosive. He gets off balance sometimes. He's got that. He's committed to trying to be great and to trying to destroy his opponents. But he doesn't have what those other guys have, which is the equalizer. Where did it go? That's all I'm saying. What happened to Conor Benn's power? Because what happened to him, he went from being the like a Gervonta Davis, little light skinned, explosive, powerful, one punch KO power guy, to now being Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? Guy who's gonna box you, he's gonna touch you up, but he may make you miserable, but he's not gonna knock you out. And that's not good. So I think for Conor Benn, I think he needs to avoid those guys who can really crack, because he's gonna get hit, and he's gonna get hurt. He's gonna get knocked out. I'm telling y'all, Conor Benn is going to get knocked out. His best bet may be to cash out and fight Eubank Jr. That's what Eddie Hearn wants. Just have him fight Eubank Jr. They both make, who knows, man, 20, 30 million a piece maybe, especially if the Saudis take that fight on. If Conor Benn's allowed to fight over there. There's a lot of money in that fight. Just go ahead and get the dough, because if he chooses to be foolish and fight Boots Ennis or Jesus Christ, a Mean Machine or a Santillan or somebody, he's going to get embarrassed and beat and get the hell beat out of him. And I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm being as objective as I possibly can. There's something missing from the arsenal of Conor Benn. There's something that he had that he no longer has, and that's called power. What happened to his power? It's like with Margarito. Margarito was out here tranquilizing people. What happened after they figured out this man had loaded hand wraps? When that shit was gone, what happened to Margarito's career? Out the window, right? So Margarito was a cheat. He got exposed, and it just wasn't the same. And you see that happen with a lot of these fighters, man. When they test positive for something. Gerald Big Baby Miller. This is a whole nother video. Conor Benn and Gerald Big Baby Miller. It's two great examples of when fighters who are using Peds stop using Peds. The power is gone. They can't knock people out. It is what it is. They were both cheating. Gerald Miller, you never seen him get tired. He was dead tired. Even when he was big like that, he never, at 350 pounds, whatever the hell, he never really got tired. So what I'm saying is, when these guys get in the ring and start performing differently, it doesn't take a damn rocket scientist to see that there was something suspicious that was taking place. And I truly believe that with Conor Benn. But that being said, Conor Benn gave up the Peds, and then he became Devin Haney. Pillow fist, man. I don't know what he's going to do next, but Eddie Hearn's not stupid. And Eddie Hearn's not blind. And Eddie Hearn knows that he was juicing. But Eddie Hearn gonna go down in flames with him, man. Eddie Hearn is loyal. But he's gonna make sure he keeps putting him in with fights against nobodies. He's gonna treat him like he treated AJ when AJ was coming back after the second Usyk defeat. He got the Jermaine Franklins. AJ fought Jermaine Franklin. Then he fought Hellenius, right? And then he fought Otto Wallin. So Eddie Hearn is very smart and very deliberate and very calculated. And he's gonna make sure that he treats Conor Benn, who is another one of his what's the word? Show, I call him a show pony, or his money makers, right? The cash cow, that's it, cash cow. He's another one of his cash cows. He's not going to sit there and throw him to the wolves, period. But the Haney fight, he'd make, because Eddie Hearn still benefits from having him fight Haney. But we'll see how it plays out. But I'm telling you right now, I personally don't think Conor Benn has much upside to him. I think there's not much room for growth there. I think if anything, we'll see him start to kind of, regress. And that's because he's going to be fighting guys who are A-level fighters. Because of his name, he can get those fights. And he's going to have people convinced that he can go in there and do the business. And when he goes up, steps up in competition and gets tranquilized, the perception is going to be that he's regressing somehow. And that's not what's happening. He's a C-level fighter who's going to get in with a A-level fighter and going to make him look like a C-level fighter. And I just think that's Conor Benn's already trying not to cry. If you watch him in interviews, he gets emotional. When they talk about the clomiphene, how he wants to fight back in the UK. Look, he created his own misery, man. And I think that there are some people who want to get behind him and support him, but when you come out here and you can't knock out Dobson, you can't even make this man dance salsa in the ring and throw off his equilibrium. You can't do nothing with a guy who was a stationary target. And you want to talk about some damn Terrence Crawford? Are you crazy? Anyway, y'all keep cool, man. Shout out to the veterans all 7 continents. I don't think Conor Benn's going much further than he's reached in his comeback. I think he's reached the end of his rope. Stick around them DC level fighters to keep getting wins, stacking up your dough. As soon as he bubbles up, and Haney's like an A-rated fighter. I know him going to 147, I'd probably rate Devin Haney a B-level fighter at 147 because I've never seen Devin Haney fight at 147. But I would still have to give Devin Haney the edge. And they're basically going to say Devin Haney was a 135-pounder. That beat Conor Benn, who was a 160-pound fighter. You know how these headlines are. They'll take the lowest weight that Devin Haney fought at and the highest weight that Benn has fought at, and then they would sit there and say basically the 135-pounder beat a 160-pounder, which is not the case. Anyway, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.